Welcome to the Village of Bartlett Committee of the Whole meeting for October 6, 2015. I call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Ahrens, absent. Kammerer. Here. Carbonaro.
Here.
Daney.
Yes, here.
Hopkins.
Here.
Ranky.
Here.
President Wallace.
Here. A couple items under Planning and Zoning for the Committee of the Whole meeting this evening. Chairman Ranky.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item is case number 14-27, Bartlett Point West, for discussion and possibly moving the matter along to the village board for a vote. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jim.
Thank you, Trustee Ranky. Bartlett Point West is the subdivision that you have seen before, but just to go over the location, it is on the south side of West Bartlett Road, just a little east of Route 25 and west of Bartlett Point, thus the name. It is a proposed as a 29 single-family lot development. As you previously had heard, it was originally approved as a multifamily townhome plan. The developer, Reliable Materials, represented by Rich Gerard, who is here, has submitted an application for preliminary final plat of subdivision and a PUD plan for the 29 single-family lots. It has gone through to the Plan Commission, which recommended approval. They conducted the public hearing on the PUD. The only two variations, if you will, or adjustments on the PUD is the bulk yard requirements of a rear yard of 25 feet and instead of 45 feet, and a reduction in the width of the right-of-way from 66 feet to 60, although the street pavement will remain the same. So it's just a width reduction in the actual physical right-of-way. They have a landscape plan that surrounds the property, basically providing buffers to the north and to the west. They've gone to the Park District. The Park District has agreed to accept a .365 acre park site to provide a buffer on the south to the ball fields that are on the south side, and in addition, the balance of the park donation will be paid in cash. They are providing some fence detail within the landscaping, which you can see here, and then some possible elevations, although they have not chosen a single-family builder, but the homes will be similar in size and style to Bartlett Point. And that's all they have for you. It is ready to go on to a final or a vote and a discussion and a public hearing on the annexation agreement, which has to be amended. That still calls for the townhome development, so it would need an amended annexation agreement, which we've been working on, an approval and rezoning of this for PUD for the single-family development. And Mr. Gerard is here if you have any questions of him.
Jim, let me ask you this. We're going to have to amend the comp plan.
Yes, the comp plan will have to be amended in this area, as we have in some of the other things that have been adjusted. This was originally planned for a commercial, and then adjusted for the townhomes, although it never really was built, so we never adjusted the comp plan. So we're going to have to do it now and follow up with a comp plan amendment on that area, just that little sliver of land where they're at.
Because I notice what I liked before was that there was a strip of open space / recreation kind of buffering the residential from the industrial. And I think we've discussed this before, notifying prospective purchasers that they are in fact buying property next door to an industrial area.
Right, and that's going to have to be, it's in the annexation agreement and his ordinance that he has to disclose that.
Any other questions or comments? I know we've discussed this quite a bit.
Are we reducing the setbacks for the rear yard?
Yes, that's part of his request for a PUD. It would go down to 25-foot rear yard setback.
And that's simply to have a bigger house.
Yes, excuse me, Rich Gerard. What it's to allow to accommodate is so that there could be some more ranches, and that's more of a product with less yards and more ranch or master bedroom down. It's not going to impact anybody around it. The townhomes before had even smaller setbacks than the single family will now. And then On the east side of it is the large detention area that you can see, so it doesn't impact anyone. On the west side, there is there's a berm there, a short berm, a buffer, the fencing, landscaping, and then on the other side is the commercial. So it doesn't impact anyone negatively, the homeowners. And it accommodates a product that now the market is looking for.
Good.
Now, will this impact anyone if they want to put like a patio in with our impervious surface ordinance that we have?
Hopefully, they won't be able to put in too big of one.
So this,
They'll have to accommodate the impervious surface standards that are for this SR4. His homes that he's proposed, the footprints do meet it, but it could have that potential if you ask for a big patio.
could we require the developer to include our impervious surfaces requirements?
It's in the ordinance, so it would apply to this development.
Okay. I just want the homeowners who buy these houses to be aware that they can't put,
So
a
part of
deck
the
in.
disclosure.
You're saying like
Disclosure.
evidence or disclosure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could
Add
be
that.
part of the disclosure.
You're aware of what we're talking about, right?
Yes, and we have no objection to that.
Yeah. That would be very difficult to put a little dinky patio back there with the house take up most of the spot. But I think there's a need. I've heard some other folks in the village speak to the fact that we have very few larger ranch homes. So I think that's a good idea. I think that's going to be popular. Aging population, they're more interested in ranch homes. Right, Ray?
I agree with that. I've agreed with this. I'm just listening, taking everything in. I've seen this come through the Plan Commission, been in tune with it and whatnot, and I concur with the development of what it is. And as Trustee Hopkins has said, the only thing that I didn't realize until this evening is I thought that the impervious, that requirement would be part of the agreement. But if we can add that, and the homeowners are aware, I have no problem with this at all. I think this is a very good concept. I believe that it's in keeping with the adjoining community and the adjoining development, and I'm in agreement with it.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, well then we'll move this matter along with the board for approval.
Thank you for coming this evening.
The second item on planning and zoning is case 15-18 Spring Lakes Estates, site plan approval. Jim?
This is obviously everybody knows where Spring Lake Estates is at, but for reference, it is on the north side of West Bartlett Road, just a little east of the railroad tracks. The mobile home park, as you know, has an entrance feature and a community center. What they are proposing to do is to take the back of the community center, which is basically a vacant asphalt lot, and convert it into more refined parking and a nice open space playground area for the children, basketball courts. This site plan doesn't do as much justice as the landscape plan, but basketball courts, outdoor equipment, some landscaping. The ordinance for the mobile home is the MH1 district, and because it is in the MH1 district, that any change to the property that requires a building permit requires it go through our site plan process. So that's why they're here going through the site plan. I don't see Mr. DeFrenza, but they are here or have been meeting with us. They've also done all the impervious surface calculations and stormwater. They don't need to do best management practices because they are actually replacing asphalt with grass, and it will use the existing detention area. And as you can see, this is the existing impervious surface. That's the proposed. So it's just the opposite of what most development is. They are needing to go on to the Plan Commission for public hearing on this, or for site plan review. So it's for you prior to going on to Plan Commission. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
This seems to me to be a great amenity for that
Yes.
area. And in a related subject, don't you think it's a bit onerous that if we're to have the building permit process trigger site plan review?
It's very onerous.
Maybe we should take a look at streamlining this. Again, one of those things, we can help the businesses by not having them come before us and request a site plan.
We'd be more than happy
Yes.
to do
That
that.
would be wonderful, I think.
Yeah,
We've not
especially in
done
this situation, they
anything
probably want to
since
get it in.
Yeah.
They want to get,
Anytime you can make something a little simpler for these.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Very
I've
good.
been here 23 years, they've never proposed anything, so I've never realized that until we sat down with them and we thought they could just get a building permit, and we read the ordinance, and unfortunately, that's what it states. They're very, they were cooperative, so
Yeah.
they want to move
We
forward.
expect them to be.
We would have liked to help them. We're moving it along as fast as we can.
might be snowing before they're playing basketball in there. So.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for planning and zoning.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Next on our Committee of the Whole meeting, under Finance and Golf Committee, Chairman Daney.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. We have an opportunity to enhance the quality of Bartlett Hills by adding a golf simulator. And I've kind of walked into this at the end. I was at the course when they first started talking about it, and really I thought it was an excellent idea because of the fact that we had talked about trying to add additional revenue to the golf course during the winter and whatnot. And I know that there really, from a golf standpoint, there isn't much going on at Bartlett Hills during the winter. I know the course is open, but for the most part, nothing's happening there. So when I heard about this golf simulator, virtual reality game and whatnot, and with that, I'd like Scott, if you could talk about this a little bit to the board.
Sure, Trustee Denny, thank you. This is actually an idea that boards and staffs have batted around for some time, but two things have come to light recently. One is a revenue sharing idea with the company, so the village itself wouldn't have to invest money into the machine. Also, as you know, our expansion allows us for some additional opportunities. So it was a good time for staff to revisit this. First, I'll take you through the logistics and the layout of the machine itself. As you can see here, this is where the machine would be located in the bar. Obviously, the windows and doors would be secured by the walls and the ceiling. There we go. This next picture you see is kind of an overhead view of where the simulator would be. It's about 15 feet by 13 feet. The area in the upper right side of the bar would not be accessible by the machine. The bar itself would still maintain 4 seats, and the lounge would still maintain approximately 24 seats. So a total of 28 seats would be available for the bar use. And during the winter, when we have really limited foot traffic and bar use, that's more than adequate space, and staff feels comfortable with that. Here's an overhead view of the bar itself, just another view of that lounge area and where the machine would go. When staff first looked at this, we looked into all areas in the clubhouse itself. One was the basement. We saw some logistical issues down there as far as handicap accessibility, security, fire code, things of that nature. We also looked at the banquet room, but staff also felt that it would be difficult to do that. While we could get 2 machines in and increase revenue, if the machines in the banquet room were to deter one bride or one party or one outing, we'd have a real hard time kind of swallowing that. The revenue projected from that would definitely outweigh the revenue that these simulators are projected to get. And finally, as far as the revenue and staffing is considered, we're looking to keep it as low cost as possible. That's why we looked at a possible revenue sharing agreement. These machines are between $70,000 and $70,000. So it's kind of risky to go into the purchase of a machine. So we have a proposal where the owner of the company would bring in the machine, and they would take 60% of the revenue, and we would take 40% of the revenue. So there's no upfront cost, no financial risk as far as that's concerned. And as far as the dollars brought into the golf course, we're looking at about $2,000, and that's based on approximately 50 hours of play. We're looking at a price point to charge individuals between $25 and $35 based on senior, weekend, weekday, and that would be per hour of the machine. So if one foursome came into play, it would be approximately $140 for that foursome per hour, and we would see about 40% of that. And that's just on the golf side. As far as the food and beverage is concerned, that would also bring an additional revenue. In the morning, you may have some seniors, having coffee, so the revenue wouldn't be very powerful from there. But as far as in the afternoon and evening hours, you're looking at a limited menu and food and beverage and things like that. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
What were those numbers again, the dollar amounts?
Sure.
Price points for play?
Sure. If an individual came in, let's say one person, and wanted to play the simulator for an hour, it would cost about $30.
$30 an hour? And people play this?
Oh, yes.
If it's $30 an hour, but you can have 4 people playing.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Now, keep in mind, if you have a
Yeah, see,
foursome.
you can take your foursome, we have a normal foursome that we play with on a regular basis, and we would get together on the weekend for $30. And in addition to that, though, we're split that 4 ways, but, the food and beverage portion of it, goes along with that.
Right.
Because we won't have a foursome there for an hour without partaking in coffee.
Coffee. Yeah, coffee sales will be through the roof.
From what I understand.
You're paying, Trustee Ranke, to reiterate your point, when you're paying $30 per hour and you're with 3 other people, that makes over 4 hours for a round of golf.
That's
You're
right.
paying $30 to be at the golf course, per se, in the wintertime with your buddies for 4 hours.
Okay. I thought, wow, that's
4 hours.
No walking.
No walking, just drinking.
And no carts either.
no carts either, so we'll save on cart maintenance. It seems from the photographs or the graphics that you've given us that it's kind of cramped. I mean, what are we going to do with the area that says this area would not be accessible? I mean, how are we going to use this? Is there an ingress-egress issue? It just seems so cramped.
No, we do have an exit, which is up to fire code. That area wouldn't be accessible, but to be honest with you, Trustee Ranke, during those months of when we proposed to have the machine in, that area is in pretty low demand and insignificant. We do feel as though the space that's available in the bar would be more than adequate to but you're right, it is a little cramped, and it's not going to be there. Once March and we see the weather is looking good, that machine's out of there.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody's up there now. So, I mean, they'll put up with a little crampness just to have the camaraderie with the groups playing golf and whatnot. And I also understand that there's a concept that is just being touched on that they possibly could have leagues.
Sure, that is a possibility, absolutely. And we're going to do everything we can to get the most amount of people we can get in. And Phil and Paul have a good email database of a lot of folks, and we would get the word out, and we would try to do something like that.
I didn't say that. Honestly, I think it's a no-brainer. We've talked about this before, and I think we should move this along to the board for approval, especially under the conditions that we have. We have an excellent relationship. We're in a revenue-sharing program with this person, and if it doesn't work, well, we can take a look at something else, for next year.
So it would only be there for the winter months, is that right?
Correct.
That's correct. We would propose to put it in after the last big Christmas event and make sure it's gone by the first fish fry and not have, we looked and we don't have the things booked now that might take up more room in the bar. So we think that, a couple of months is a good time to try it out. We would make sure we haven't completed a contractual document to bring to you, but that, if it doesn't work, they come and get it. There's no fees associated with that. So I think it's worth a try.
Is there ever any reason why in that area that's not accessible that we didn't try to put a door in going into the general banquet room, Brian? We just never thought about that, or it's something not viable, or what?
If you recall, that was the old veranda,
Right.
and we walled it off. So no, there's no access to that back portion.
Well, I know that, but could there have been? That's what I'm saying. Could there have been a door back there? It just seems like if you reverse the configuration and you put the whole simulator on this other wall, and you had a door there, so you could have access to it to the banquet room. You open up much more space. Let me see what Brian has to say about the door.
The one thing about that door, keep in mind, is that right now, they have a table over there. So if we were to had a door there, they would have lost that access.
Well, it doesn't have to, the door could open to the outside or be a sliding door or something of that nature. I'm just curious, could have it been done, Brian? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, if we elected when we did the bar expansion to leave the door in there, then yes, but the door has been closed off.
When we had looked at that, one of the disadvantages is we have a lot of ceremonies inside and weddings, and to have that a door in between would, one, hurt the sound. If you've got 40 guys in the bar, having lunch, that was one issue. And if it was open glass, to be able to see that, especially if a ceremony was going on during that time, that was one of the drawbacks of not placing a door there.
You can see the sound issue.
I'm just bringing it up as to make sure we've covered all the options and make sure there's nothing we could have changed that opened up a little more space. And we did all the work on that bar to make sure there was enough space for people to be there. So just want to make sure we don't miss out on anything. That's all.
Sounds like a great opportunity to add some revenue.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Let me ask a few questions here, if I may. Do we increase any type of liability?
We haven't gotten into a contract, but when we get into a contract with them, we're going to make sure that our village attorney looks at that insurance and it's spot on and perfect.
It's one thing to have clubs waving around out on the course and having them in the bar. It's another.
Absolutely.
So I would be a little concerned with liability potentially. Do we have any idea of dates from when to when?
Well, we're
You
looking.
mentioned like after the last tea time and.
Well, we're looking as far as the times of availability would be during open hours during the winter, which would be about 8:30 to 4:30. However, individuals can make a tea time. We're open on weekends. And if somebody wants to call, probably about 24 hours in advance, because we don't want to pay hourly staff just to sit there with the hopes of somebody coming. But if a tea time's made,
that's how they do it at Dave & Buster's. They actually make a tea time.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In advance. That's the best way to do it. What is the last date for permanent tea times now? Do we know?
They're over.
They're over?
Right.
Okay.
They ended.
Second week in September.
Yeah, they ended 2 weeks ago.
So is there a reason we're going to wait till December?
You still have a substantial amount of foot traffic in the bar with play on a daily basis, so you'd want that bar space. They have weddings going on in October and November
What about a
throughout those 2
golf-themed
months.
wedding? Maybe some of the weddings might want to play golf, Paul. Come on.
I pitched that to my wife, and she said no.
Yeah. And I guess one of the other things is who puts it up and takes it down?
The owner.
Vendor.
Okay, so it's actually once you put it up, it's permanent. It's not just up and down deal.
Yep, and we'll make sure that if the board wishes to proceed to the contract, if we don't like it, if something's wrong, they take it out.
And then the last thing I was going to ask is, have we pushed them for like a 50-50?
They started a little higher on that.
That means they're negotiable.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got it down.
30 all along. I talked them into 40. And pretty happy with that.
Maybe if we hit a certain number, we get more and he gets less. All right, that's it. I mean, I've done it before. I've played simulators before, and it's a really fun time. So hopefully it'll catch on.
And I know for a fact that if this is successful, that Doc Cameron and myself, Trustee Cameron and myself would probably be interested in buying a simulator next year and working a split with the village.
Is this one of the ones where you actually do the putting or not?
Yes.
Okay, because I know there's some where you don't even putt, but some of them you go up and actually putt. So
To expedite play, you make it a certain amount of length putt as a gimme, like
Yeah.
a 10-footer, because that's the difficult part. It's hard to figure out how to putt on those things. Other
can you
than
give
that,
lessons on this thing?
you can. Yes.
There you go. Okay.
And Scott, since I made such a big push to save those windows,
Now one of them's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, is that gonna
but
be
they're
something
insured.
we're going to have problems with or not? That wouldn't go over so well if those
No, it
windows get
wouldn't.
broken now. I won't be very happy.
We respect those windows very much.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's a good idea to have weddings with a golf theme. I don't think you would really want your wife to have a golf club at those ceremonies, would you?
It's okay when you're getting married at the beginning. It's just when you've been married like 20 years.
I know, that's the problem. When the simulator golf is not going to interfere with the parties, weddings that are going on, it'll be cut off at a certain time or whatever. Oh, okay.
Be down.
I think this is a great idea. I really do.
Well, let me ask one last question, because Valerie and I talked about this briefly, but if somebody has too much coffee and they swing and they do knock out one of the windows, I'm assuming that we are going to invite them in no uncertain terms to pay for the window, or the chief will pay them a visit.
They're homeowners.
Yeah, I would expect.
I think it would
You know,
be worth
let
it.
me
think
just
of as if you're on
make
the
a comment
course.
regarding that. You know, I've met Bartlett Hills quite a bit, and I have to tell you, Phil and the staff and Paul here, they do an outstanding job, their staff, of monitoring that. And I think that that would be a real remote situation if it occurred, because those people out there do a remarkable job in monitoring, you know, what's occurring in the bar area. And I have complete confidence in them that if that were to be the case, that person would be asked nicely to remove himself from the premises and be ushered home some way.
Sure. Well, even if it's not a coffee-related issue, if you just have
No,
a
I know.
Yahoo.
We're on the same page.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
The way the machines are designed, though, there's big walls around them. It would really take an effort for someone to break a window. You would have to
Now watch.
intentionally
Okay.
throw a golf club through a window. So I
just
don't
put up
foresee
a
that
sign.
being an
Yeah,
issue.
let's hope not. Yeah.
Now
We would
watch.
need to.
Hasn't thrown
That
a
being
golf club
said-
once in a while.
That being said, now you watch the first week the simulator, the window will be broken.
Well, buy the first one.
I suggest we put up a sign. We would like you to break this one first. Just give them something to
Make
aim
the old windows first.
Yeah.
All right.
If there aren't any other questions, I'd like to move this along for the board for approval.
So moved.
Very good.
Very good.
That's it.
You're finished?
Thank you, Chairman Danny.
Right.
No other
Thanks,
items
guys. I
on
think
our
it'll be
agenda
fun.
this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Trustee Danny, second by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Cameron,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Brian, would you be up to stop it?
Yes.
Okay. Boyd is here.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
I am not.
All right. We'll get you out there to simulator
I want a new car.
and Adam.
That was a new
The
car.
best place for me to
That was
play
keys
golf.
to a car.